Fiki for Explosive Growth Podcast, where we discuss health, wealth, success, and business. Welcome to the show. Yes, once again, how's it going? Hope you're having a wonderful end of January 31st. Thanks for checking in with me. I got a special guest today, Stefani Boyd, who's going to talk to us about interest rates, where the market is going, what has transcended the market in such a fast time, and what to look forward to. So let's go ahead and bring her right up. Hi, Stefani.
Hi, Morad. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. And we really appreciate your time, your expertise, and your knowledge. So let's just dive right in. Let's talk about the interest rates. What is going on? Why are the interest rates just rapidly increasing like they are? Isn't this crazy?
Well, it's definitely been volatile for some time now. I think volatility is the word for our market these days.
What and why? Like, why is that happening?
Well, so there's a lot of reasons, right? Current events, of course, during the pandemic, the interest rates were artificially low. Then we passed out a bunch of money to everybody, which added to our debt problems. And then we had this whole need to restabilize the market and try to get back to normal. So as the Fed saw this happening about a year ago, they started announcing that they were going to try to stabilize the market through raising interest rates. So now that's why we've seen rates double over the past year. I think there is some good news. They do look a little better than they looked a month ago, the interest rates. So, a month ago, a jumbo loan carried a rate around 7%. Now it's under 6% again. So,
really?
It's kind of stabilizing here and there. And of course, that depends on the lender and, your credit score and all of the things that drive what interest rate any particular borrower is eligible for. But there does seem to be a little good news in sight as far as, the prices are coming down a little bit. The rates are coming down a little bit. So it does look like a little stability may be headed our way. And then there's still uncertainty. We've got the world events, Ukraine, Russia, all of these wars and rumors of wars. And those definitely also drive the market.
Where do you see rates going this year in 2023?
Well, you know what? There's a lot of differing opinions about that. Of course, everybody wants to see them back at 2% like we had during the pandemic. I would love to tell all of my investors that we can get a 15-year rate at 1.75 like we were getting back then. Wow. But honestly, I think we're just really headed into a more realistic scenario. When I bought my first house in 97, my rate was 7 3/4, and it seemed reasonable at the time. In the 80s, the rates were in the teens. In the 90s, 7 3/4 seemed fine on a house that was $100,000, but now that same house is $600,000.
Wow.
So, that's quite a big difference in your payment. Same house, different price. When I had that loan, my payment was around $1,100 a month, and now my borrower's payment would be closer to $5,000 a month for that loan. So,
wow.
I don't think that people have quite gotten raises to keep up with those the rising prices that we have here in California. I see that you're in Houston, so maybe your prices are a little lower than ours, but from what I understand from all the Californians fleeing your way, we're driving up your prices out there as well.
Yeah, we're getting a ton of people moving from California to Texas. And what we're finding is that actually the amount of home you can buy in Texas compared to California is so much more. I mean, property taxes are high in Texas versus the nation. But besides that, you can get a nice, huge estate for the same price that you're getting like a small 4-bedroom house in California.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
You get more bang for your buck here in Texas. Houston, Texas, the cost of living is actually very, very reasonable.
Definitely. Your gas prices are lower than ours. Pretty much all around. It seems like a lot of wise people are fleeing California and heading out your way.
New York and Cali are coming to Texas. I mean, it's been great. You know, Texas gained 1 congressional seat due to the influx of people. I'm sorry, Texas gained 2 congressional seats, and New York lost 1 and California lost 1 due to the massive influx of people to Texas.
Oh, interesting. I did not hear about
migration. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think all that migration is going to, hopefully stabilize some stuff. The rates seem like, maybe the Fed's going to quit raising them 0.5 to 3/4 of a point every time they meet. It's been a little bit more subtle these days. So
what is the simple formula to how much my buyer can afford? What do you do? And can you explain that to the viewers? That's a big question that I get, is how much house can I afford?
Okay. So a real simple formula, the rule of thumb for a conventional loan is 43% of your income going to your housing expenses. So what your borrowers are going to want to do is take their gross income before taxes and then subtract out their car payment, their credit card, their student loans. Generally, 1% of the balance is a good rule of thumb to estimate your student loan payment for debt purposes. And then once you subtract out your bills, you can go up to around 43% of your income towards your mortgage payment.
That's after bills are paid?
Well, yes. So you've got a back end ratio and a front end ratio. So your front end ratio, being your housing expense, can be no more than 43% of your income. So if you're a person who has, 2 car payments and a bunch of credit cards, maybe your debt to income ratio is already 43% before you start adding your housing on it. So, 43% on the front end. Differing programs have differing back end requirements, but generally 50% on the back end for a conventional loan, including, that would include all of your bills and everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, you definitely want to take that base calculation of your income versus your housing expense. And then you also need to factor in your car payment and your other bills to get your true debt to income ratio.
Okay.
And FHA has more lenient guidelines. FHA will let you go over 50% of your debt to income instead of capping it, around 43 to 45. So different products have different guidelines. But yeah, generally that's what we're trying to do, is make sure you can afford that principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. PITI.
All right. That's great. So that being said, when somebody's looking at their income, they need to factor in their debt to income ratio. At what instance do you advise them to pay off any credit cards?
So paying off your credit is a tricky situation. Your credit score is very important because it's used to determine the pricing of your loan. So a lot of times people don't realize that if they go out and just pay off all their cards, it might actually make their credit score go down. So the algorithm driving your credit score wants to see a few things. They want to see the length of time that your accounts have been established. So your score is based on your total credit history. So if all your accounts are 6 months old, your score is not going to be as high as if you had a bunch of accounts that were 10 years old, 20 years old. So the length of time, don't go close those old accounts. People think, oh, I'm just going to get rid of all my credit, I'm going to close my accounts. Don't do that, because all those years of paying those bills on time are helping your score be better. Closing them is going to make it go down. So the rule of thumb for the algorithm is that it likes to see about 30% of the available balance being used of your available credit. So if you have a $10,000 limit, using up to $3,000 of it, keeping it active, paying it down, paying it off. That's going to be helpful to your credit score, because you don't want to have a bunch of credit that you never use. So the algorithm wants to see you using it responsibly, paying it off, keeping your accounts open. And those are going to be the things that help you with your credit score.
Any other advice you could give the viewers when they're in the market getting ready to purchase a home?
Well, I tell a lot of my young couples that they can help give their credit score a boost by being added as an authorized user onto grandma's Macy's card, Sears account. So what you can do is basically associate your credit profile with your grandma's credit profile. So now if you have a 500 score, but grandma's is 800, and you get started adding yourself on as an authorized user, then the algorithm actually starts giving you a boost to your score based on her length of time, credit that she's been using, and those things. So that's one quick little tip you can do, a couple months ahead of time, get a couple months reporting, and that'll make your credit score go up.
All right. Well, that being said, I appreciate your time. This was great advice. Is there anything else final thoughts you want to leave us with?
Well, I just like to always remind everybody, when they think that there's problems in the housing market or the mortgage rates are too high, 100% of your rent goes to pay your landlord's college tuition for his kids. So even if your rate's higher, becoming your own landlord and getting into the housing market as a first-time buyer, you're going to benefit in so many ways, as including setting your own kids up to go to college instead of paying your landlord's kids tuition.
That's great. Well, thank you, Stephanie. I really appreciate your time.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. Nice chatting with you today.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon. And everybody checking this out, like, comment, share, show some love. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you here for next time. Thank you.